How bad is climate change for us Indians? And 80% of our population.
Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika Mehtu, and coming up in the next 1 hour. Israel claims it is preventing Hamas from re-establishing its hold in Gaza's Jabalia. Hagari claims Israeli forces killed about 30 Hamas terrorists. Death toll from Afghanistan floods rises to 315 with more than 1,600 people injured, says Taliban ministry. Taliban's economy minister urges UN humanitarian agencies and private businesses to provide support to those affected by floods. 96 constituencies across 10 states and union territories all set to poll on the 13th of May in the fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections. And in Premier League today, Manchester United all set to face Arsenal, the match to decide Man United's standing in the points table as well as the future of manager Erik ten Hag. So those were the top headlines of the hour that we are tracking for all our viewers here on DD India News Hour. And now first get you the latest on world's largest democratic elections across India. India is all set to vote in the fourth phase of voting on Monday, and Saturday was the last day of campaigning for the fourth leg of the seven-phased parliamentary elections. In the fourth round, voting will be held on May the 13th. As many as 96 parliamentary constituencies across 10 states and union territories will go to polling in this phase. And now I am joined by Mark Lynn from Visakhapatnam, Amit Mukherjee from Ujjain, Siddharth Bharadwaj from Kannauj. And thank you so much all of you for joining us here on DD India News Hour. First of all, Mark, I would like to come to you. It is really hot there in Visakhapatnam. So what are the polling preparations for the voters who are going to come there and select their favorite party tomorrow, Mark?
Well, Deepika, the polling starts at 7 in the morning and usually life in Visakhapatnam is people start early and they take a break when the sun comes up, and then as the evening comes they start life once again. So we are expecting that polling will be brisk in the early hours right up to about 11 or 12 o'clock. Maybe it will take a lull for a little while after that and pick up again towards the evening. The polling closes at 6 o'clock in the evening, so there is plenty of time. The Andhra Pradesh has seen very high voter percentage. In the last election, there were over 80.5% of the votes was the voter percentage. So it was very, very high. And I think that we are likely to see the same sort of enthusiasm in this election because everyone that I've spoken to is eager to vote.
What are the issues what we are exactly looking at there in Visakhapatnam? Are there regional issues which are dominating, or we are also looking at some of the national issues there, Mark?
Well, Andhra Pradesh is looking for several key issues. One of the issues is to develop a capital. And you know, when Chandrababu Naidu was the chief minister from 2014 to 2019, he had proposed that Amravati be the capital. But in 2019, and there was work done on that, so Amravati was officially the capital. It was a capital in the process of development. And then Jagan Mohan Reddy came to power in 2019, and he proposed that some of the bigger cities like Visakhapatnam, Vijayawada, all these other states areas should also be developed. There's no point in creating a greenfield capital when you already have infrastructure in these places. So Visakhapatnam was also proposed as perhaps it's the biggest city in Andhra Pradesh. It was proposed as the alternative capital or administrative capital, while Amravati could have been the legislative capital, and then they looked at Kurnool to be a third capital as a judicial capital. So these are one of the issues. Apart from that, in Visakhapatnam in particular, there are issues regarding the Visakhapatnam steel plant, which the central government, it's a central government plant, had put on the list of the plants that needed to be disinvested. The people in the state were not very happy about that. They want job security, they want the plant not to be divested, not to be privatized. So that is one of the issues. But apart from that, there are different age groups of people looking at the way this election is being conducted. The young people want more job opportunities. They want cities to develop. They want to compete with Hyderabad, the capital that they have lost to Telangana. They want to set up something like that with great opportunities for the youth. So there are quite a large number of youth. They in fact number about 8 million voters in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So they are looking at issues for creating a right environment for growth, for job opportunities. Apart from that, I suppose everyone is looking to try and get a better deal from the center. They want that special category status was promised to the state when it was created, when Telangana was carved out of it, but that has not come. In fact, initially there was a package that was offered which was accepted by the first government, but the second government of Jagan Mohan Reddy has also been trying to get as much help from the center so that the state of Andhra Pradesh, which consists of areas that they felt were lagging behind, needed to be given a boost in terms of development. This in a nutshell are the issues in this election, Deepika.
All right, Mark, I would request you to stay with us. We also have with us Amit Mukherjee, who's joining us from Ujjain. Amit, how is the fight looking like there in Ujjain?
Well, Deepika, as far as Ujjain is concerned, this particular place has been a stronghold of BJP for the last two Lok Sabha elections. Now, just to give you a perspective, in 2019, BJP won this seat. In fact, they had fielded Anil Firozia, who is sitting MP right now. In fact, he is also contesting this time. Now, he won by a margin of about 4 lakh votes, defeating his Congress rival Mahesh Babulal Malviya, by a whopping margin of 4 lakh vote. Even in 2014 elections, BJP won by about 3.5 lakh vote. Chintamani Malviya was the BJP candidate there. So by and large, this has been a stronghold of BJP, like the 7 other, in fact 6 other Lok Sabha constituencies which are going to polls on May 13th, which is tomorrow. Except for one particular constituency out of the 8, which is basically a tribal belt. I mean, the Ratlam constituency would be looking at some tough fight between BJP and Congress, and a lot of tribal issues are those are the key areas out here, and both the parties, BJP and Congress, have been focusing on tribal issues. In fact, Prime Minister also in around February had kind of unveiled project for the tribal people, and Congress is also going whole hog, selling all those things which they have mentioned in the current manifesto, like cash doles and development for tribal people, so on and so forth. Those are the things that are key areas of focus. Now again, coming back to Ujjain, there are about 12 lakh registered voters, 1.2 million registered voters. And this is a city which is known for its cultural vibrance, the Mahakal temple, which is again the temple of Lord Shiva, which is out here, and it is a tourism hub. And the city never sleeps. And in fact, it's a 24-hour city which is like awake throughout the night and day because of the tourists pouring in to visit this temple. And in fact, so tourism development and infrastructure development to promote tourism is also an important issue for Ujjain, which I'm sure, that has been taken care of to a great extent. Deepika?
And Amit, also if you talk about the preparation, what sort of special arrangements have been made by the ECI for the voters?
Yes, that is very, very important, because looking at ECI's efforts to kind of bring out voters. Now, in the first 2 phases of election, Madhya Pradesh had witnessed about 65% of voting. Again, then it had introduced a lot of incentives during the 3rd phase, which is why the polling percentage has gone up to 71%. Now again, if you look at Madhya Pradesh, the Tropic of Cancer passes through this state, and in fact it passes through Ujjain. So it's a very, I mean, it will be a very, very hot afternoon. But thankfully, I think the nature god, the god is playing. I mean, it's not. I mean, today it's fairly cloudy, and we have patches of clouds floating around, which is giving some respite from the scorching heat out here. And the Met Office is also, and the local Met Office out here is also expecting that the weather would continue to be similar, and I mean that would actually encourage voters to come out and vote, because of the scorching heat they have been staying away from polling, and which is why we have been seeing low polling percentage across the whole of central India actually. Deepika?
Amit, I would request you to stay with us. We have with us Siddharth Bharadwaj from Kannauj. Siddharth, when we talk about Kannauj, Akhilesh Yadav is trying to put the best that he can. Now, what does the pulse of the voters suggest there, Siddharth?
First of all, a very good evening to you, Deepika. And now when you talk about Akhilesh Yadav contesting from Kannauj, it's something that is happening after 12 years, as Akhilesh Yadav is now in the fray, which is further giving a nail-biting contest, between the two political parties, which is the BJP and the Samajwadi Party. So the competition is going to be very intense out here. And if you talk about the Kannauj constituency, then it comprises of the 5 assembly segments spread across 3 districts, 4 of which have a hold of BJP, MLA, and 1 of the Samajwadi Party. So this particular constituency, Deepika, has been a stronghold of the Samajwadi Party, and it is since 1998 till 2019. And after 2019, the political dynamics, the landscape has changed here in Kannauj when the BJP candidate Subrat Pathak defeated Dimple Yadav by a margin of around 12,000 votes. And this time around as well, the BJP will try to regain, the winning momentum. And on the other hand, Akhilesh Yadav, Samajwadi Party will fight it out for the lost vote. In 1998, Deepika, if I talk about, Pradeep Yadav won from here, and then 1999, Mulayam Singh Yadav won from here, and then after that, Akhilesh Yadav, who's contesting after 12 years, like I said, was a 3-time MP from this particular constituency in 2000, 2004, and 2009 as well, and this time around. And then in 2012, Dimple Yadav won from this seat when Akhilesh Yadav vacated the seat in the by-election, and she was elected unopposed. And then in 2014, she defeated Subrat Prakash, and then Subrat Prakash defeated Dimple Yadav. So the political game, as you can see here, is quite interesting, and this time around as well. And talking about what you've said, Deepika, what are voters saying? I'm here since like 2-3 hours now, and I've been talking to the residents, the local residents here, and they are saying that the main problem which they are seeing is inflation and unemployment. They want work to be done in these 2 particular segments, although they are very happy with the law and order situation which is there in entire state, not just in Kannauj, and they want that this law and order situation should stay like this, which is there. As far as what the voters are saying, we cannot say anything about that. It is they who will be deciding as to who will be representing this constituency. Tomorrow they are casting their ballot, and on June 4th, when the result will be out, we all will know that whether the BJP succeeded in maintaining their winning momentum, or it's the Samajwadi Party who got back in power. Back to you, Deepika.
And Siddharth, when we talk about tomorrow's polling day, it is indeed very hot there also in Kannauj. So what are the special arrangements that have been put in place by the ECI there as well, Siddharth?
Yeah, definitely. I went there where the polling personnel were taking the EVMs and, going to their respective places where they were assigned to. And we had a word with some of the administrative officers there. So as you very well know, Deepika, that the Election Commission of India is putting everything they can to actually appeal to the voters to come out of their houses and vote in large numbers. They have also initiated some schemes, some programs like SWEEP, which is the flagship program of the Election Commission. It is to actually create awareness amongst the voters that yes, your vote means a lot. You have to come out of your houses and vote. This is not just a day given to you to relax. You have to come out, you have to stand in the queues, you have to vote, and not just elderly, everyone, including youth, the first time voters, everyone is very excited to vote tomorrow. As far as the preparations are concerned, then drinking water will be provided to the voters will be coming out, because as you just mentioned, it's very hot here in Kannauj. Drinking water will be provided. There's a shelter which is provided to the voters who will be standing in the queues. Voting will begin 7 a.m. tomorrow, and as the day will progress, so will be the rising temperature. So these are the basic things which the Election Commission has provided to the voters, some of the basic facilities so that they can come out of their houses and vote in large numbers. If I talk about the voting percentage here, Deepika, last time in 2019, that it was around 60%. This time around, with much awareness programs initiated by the Election Commission of India, awareness being created not just by the Election Commission but also some youth organizations, it is very much expected that the voting percentage will go up. But we cannot say standing here anything. Tomorrow after 6 p.m. we'll be able to tell you that whether the voting percentage has gone up or the voting percentage has gone down.
And the country is also expecting a fair voter turnout tomorrow who would come out and vote for their right. Thank you so much, Mark, Amit and Siddharth, for joining us and bringing the latest from ground zero on election preparations ahead of tomorrow's polling. And now it's time to take a short break here on DD India News Hour, but still to come on the other side. Destinations worldwide are courting Indian travellers, including countries in Africa. Tanzania takes steps to attract Indian tourists. Border Security Force of India hoisted country's largest BSF flag at Shahi Killa complex in Atari.
How bad is climate change for us Indians? And 80% of our population lives in districts that are at risk of climate-induced disaster.
It is a concrete structure. It is a groundwater tank. So they collect the water, store it. When they go deeper, after 10 feet, they used to get the saline water.
We are now at a much warmer. So the 1.2 degrees Celsius of warming means that every single heat wave is now hotter, longer and more likely.
What people need to know is when is it going to start raining? When is it going to stop? If we provide this information, people can make their plans accordingly.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Well, India is all set to vote in the fourth phase of election on Monday, and all seats of Telangana are going to polls on the 13th of May. Poll officers of Telangana said that adequate arrangements are being made for voters and they are all excited to be a part of the world's largest festival of democracy.
Telangana is going to vote tomorrow, and today all of the election commission officials in the state are making preparations to ensure that the voting experience for the voters in the state is transparent and smooth as well. And right now we are at a distribution center in Hyderabad where hundreds of polling officials have gathered to collect their electronic voting machines and other equipment that is required to conduct the polling on 13th of May. What does the distribution center look like and what is the experience of these polling officials? We'll try and speak to the polling officers that are present here.
Election Commission of India has taken elaborate arrangements for conducting a fair and honest elections for the Lok Sabha. This is the world's largest democracy and we are very happy and fortunate that we have been assigned to such a job wherein we are conducting the election.
I feel very proud, and this is the world's largest democracy. I feel proud to be a part of this democracy, and this HOP House of People elections is going on, and here in Akbar Bagh DRC everything has been arranged meticulously and almost all the polling officers have arrived.
You can see people from all walks of life, from people in government official capacity and people from other areas as well have come here and are part of this entire exercise.
Yeah, it's feeling very great to be part of such a great election. And I'm feeling very opportunist to be a part of it.
The world's largest democratic elections in the world's largest democracy involves a vast and a complex process. However, it is the hard work of these polling officials around me that not only make it possible, but a smooth and a transparent experience for the voters as well. With camera person Ramakant Sharma, I'm Akshay Dungre, DD India, Hyderabad.
Now, as Jammu and Kashmir gears up for polling, Chief Electoral Officer of J&K, PK Poll, has said that all preparations for the upcoming Lok Sabha elections for Srinagar parliamentary seat on the 13th of May have been completed. DD India's Rama Tyagi has more inputs from Srinagar.
What are the preparations for the 13th of May?
13th May, Srinagar parliamentary constituency is going to poll, and the preparations are almost complete. We have commissioned the EVMs. The symbols of the contesting 24 candidates have been loaded. EVMs have been prepared. Other non-EVM related material have been clubbed into a bag. Bags are ready. Polling parties are being trained. Almost in every polling stations we are holding the booth awareness committee meetings. The concerned BLO as well as the village level employees like Asha workers, Anganwadi workers, Patwari, VLW, Lambardar and Chaukidar are members of the booth awareness groups. They are expected to make the villagers aware about the poll date, timing, etc.
So all the preparations have been done for free and fair election in Jammu and Kashmir. Now authorities are hoping that poll percentage will increase this time. With camera person Vinod Oja, this is Rama Tyagi for DD India.
Now, amidst the elections cacophony, here is a strong story of a centuries-old dying art form of Krishnanagar in West Bengal that has earned numerous accolades not just in India but across the globe as well. Let's take a look at this exclusive report by DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal from Krishnanagar, West Bengal.
40-year-old Preeti Biswas and her family of 5 earn their livelihood by making these clay toys, which she sells for a meager ₹12. Hours of efforts goes into making these clay toys. Biswas and her family are into this business for the last 22 years. But what she wants now is to get an increment on prices and support from the government.
So much effort goes into making these clay toys. It takes days to finish them. But for the amount of labor we put in, the price we get is too less. We want the government to support us through something that can help us.
Ghurni, a humble neighborhood in the West Bengal's Krishnanagar, is known as the center of production of these stunningly beautiful lifelike clay dolls. While clay artifacts are created in many parts of India, few can compare with the intricate detailing and finesse that defines the clay dolls of Krishnanagar. Dotted with such workshops and shops, Ghurni has gained accolades from its marvelous creations using clay, not just in India, but across the world.
We have been involved in these art forms for generations. Now my brother, father and even the females of the house are into making clay dolls. The artists here are very talented in creating human figures that look real, and our work has travelled around the world.
The residents of Ghurni are involved in the clay idol making for generations. Started some 200 years ago by artisans of this region, the then king Raja Krishna Chandra Roy of Krishnanagar, a great patron of art, supported the artisans of clay doll during his reign. The clay art of Ghurni has also won national awards and many recognitions.
I am the 8th generation that is working on this art form. Krishnanagar is known for its human figure dolls. We can create life-like dolls showing even emotions on them. Our work is famous around the world.
Despite the slowly dying art form, there are few like Sanju who takes keen interest in this to keep it alive. His generation wants to bring in newer technologies and better techniques to make the art form better. The art and the artisans of these clay making, which is predominant in Krishnanagar, these artisans say during this election season, will the political parties contesting these elections and winning, will they be able to empower these artisans with more prices and with technology? Time will tell how the art of Krishnanagar will live to tell the story. With camera person PK, this is Dibyendu Mondal from Krishnanagar in West Bengal for DD India.
Well, campaigning for the fifth phase is currently underway, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi held rallies in the eastern state of West Bengal. Prime Minister also addressed a rally in Havra. He said that Havra used to be an industrial hub earlier, but first the left and then the TMC brought all the industries to a halt. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held a rally in Arambagh. He slammed the opposition and said that government is making consistent efforts to develop port infrastructure here, but TMC tries to hinder the process time and again. Addressing a rally in Hooghly, Prime Minister said that the 2024 election is a fight between ideologies. The trust, support and blessings of the country are with the BJP.
पर बल दे रही है, लेकिन टीएमसी ब्रेक इन इंडिया का नारा लगा रही है। टीएमसी समाज को तोड़ रही है, टीएमसी कानून को तोड़ रही है, टीएमसी एकता को तोड़ रही है। तुष्टीकरण की जिद में कांग्रेस और टीएमसी जैसी पार्टियां आपकी भावनाओं की भी परवाह नहीं करते।
Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a rally in Barakpur. Addressing the rally, he said that today it has become difficult for a common man to follow his faith in Bengal. TMC threatens people when they chant the name of Lord Ram.
5 गारंटी दे रहा हूं, जब तक मोदी है, धर्म के आधार पर आरक्षण नहीं दिया जाएगा। दूसरी गारंटी, जब तक मोदी है, एससी, एसटी, ओबीसी का आरक्षण कोई खत्म नहीं कर पाएगा। तीसरी गारंटी, जब तक मोदी है, रामनवमी मनाने से कोई आपको रोक नहीं पाएगा। चौथी गारंटी, जब तक मोदी है, राम मंदिर पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जो फैसला है, उस फैसले को कोई पलट नहीं पाएगा। और 5वीं गारंटी, जब तक मोदी है, सीएए कानून को भी कोई रद्द नहीं कर पाएगा।
Delhi's Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Party Chief Arvind Kejriwal announced Kejriwal's guarantee, outlining 10 works to be done if the INDIA bloc comes into power after winning the Lok Sabha elections. Samajwadi Party Chief also held polling rallies in UP's Barabanki and Mohanlalganj, whereas Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi held campaign in Raebareli. All right, it's now time to take a short break here on DD India News Hour, but still to come on the other side. Switzerland wins Eurovision Song Contest 2024. Croatia emerges as runner-up. England's pacer James Anderson is set to retire from Test cricket after the first Test against West Indies.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
We are in Assam. This is the tea city of India.
From down south, Tamil Nadu.
Discover the colors of democracy.
In gateway to northeast of India.
Coastal state of Kerala. Watch Poll Pulse on DT India. Hype.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Now let's quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Israel claims it is preventing Hamas from re-establishing its hold in Gaza's Jabalia. Hagari claims Israeli forces killed about 30 Hamas terrorists. 96 constituencies across 10 states and union territories all set to go on polls on the 13th of May in fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections. In sports, in Premier League tonight, Manchester United all set to face Arsenal. The match will decide Man United's standing in the points table as well as the future of manager Erik ten Hag. On the occasion of Mother's Day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received his late mother's portrait as a gift during his public rally in West Bengal's Hagari. Thanking for the gift, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that Western countries celebrate Mother's Day today, but we Indians worship our mothers throughout the year.
यहाँ दो सज्जन दो कोने में चित्र बना करके लाए हैं और कब से हाथ ऊपर करके खड़े हैं। आपका हाथ को पेन होगा भैया, लेकिन आप इतने प्यार से लाए हैं और वो भी मेरी माँ का चित्र बना के लाए हैं। और पश्चिम की दुनिया आज मदर्स डे मनाती है। हम भारत के लोग तो 365 दिन माँ की भी पूजा करते हैं, दुर्गा माँ की भी पूजा करते हैं, काली माँ की भी पूजा करते हैं और भारत माता की भी पूजा करते हैं।
Pope Francis also applauded mothers on Mother's Day today. He said that today in many countries we celebrate Mother's Day. We think with gratitude of all mothers and also pray for the mothers who've gone to heaven and entrust all mothers to the protection of Mary, our Heavenly Mother, and a big applause to all mothers. Moving on, Israeli forces operating in Jabalia in the northern Gaza Strip are now preventing Hamas from re-establishing its military capabilities. Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said that Israeli forces operating in Gaza City Zaytun district killed about 30 terrorists.
In northern Gaza, fighter jets have been striking terrorist targets. This morning, we also began a temporary evacuation process in Jabalia. The troops eliminated about 30 terrorists and located dozens of weapons in a school in the area. They discovered a significant underground route through which terrorists planned to carry out an attack against our forces.
People living in Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah have been fleeing their home after the Israeli army had ordered further evacuation in eastern Rafah. The army cited upcoming military operations targeting Hamas terrorists in those areas. Many people living in Rafah have dismantled their tents, preparing for leaving with a lack of basic necessities. Earlier on Thursday, the talks on the Israel-Hamas truce in Egypt's Cairo have failed. And now we have with us Sarah Coates, who's joining us from Tel Aviv. A very good evening from India, Sarah. Now, amidst Israel's military operation, the United Nations has urgently called for immediate ceasefire. What is the latest that you're tracking on this, Sarah?
Hello there, Deepika. Yes, we did hear from the UN Chief Antonio Guterres. She says it's going to be a long way back for the people of Gaza after this conflict, calling for an immediate ceasefire. Now, according to the United Nations, some 300,000 people have already fled Rafah, as you mentioned, down in southern Gaza, although it says there is simply no place safe left to go for these people. Now, also fighting has really intensified in the north of the Strip in the Jabalia refugee camp. The military says that Hamas is now regrouped in that area, calling it a dangerous combat zone, calling on some 150,000 people to move to the west of Gaza City. So this is, of course, on that coastline there on the Mediterranean Sea. So fighting, it seems, has really intensified right across the Strip, although aid agencies say there is simply nowhere safe left to go for these people.
And also, Sarah, are we expecting any positive signs from the ceasefire talks? What is the current status there?
Well, Deepika, according to senior Israeli officials speaking to Hebrew media, these talks have not completely broken down and will resume this week indirectly. Now, we do know, of course, that there are still some 130 Israeli captives being held in the Strip amid urgent calls on the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do a deal and do it now to get these people out. Now, there were fairly wild demonstrations held here in Tel Aviv just some hours ago, Saturday night. Thousands of people turning out, calling for this deal to happen now, also calling for fresh elections over the government's handling of this war. Now, we do know that around 30 people were arrested. They have since been released with police using riot dispersal means like water cannons to get these people to break up. They did block a main highway, the Ayalon highway, so certainly a lot of dissatisfaction here in Israel, and what we can expect over the coming days is more of this as Israel marks tonight Memorial Day, which pays tribute to fallen soldiers and also victims of terror, with Israel adding almost 1,600 names to that list this year.
All right, thank you so much, Sarah Kutz, for joining us and bringing us the latest from Tel Aviv. Moving on, and latest from Russia-Ukraine conflict now. At least 7 people were killed and 15 injured when a whole section of a multi-story apartment block collapsed in Belgorod region. As per Russian Defense Ministry, Ukraine carried out the attack using Tochka-U, Empire and Olka missiles along with rockets. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry said that its air defense forces had destroyed 2 Soviet-era conventional ballistic missiles launched overnight by Ukrainian forces over Belgorod region in Russia's southwest. Earlier, 1 woman was killed and 29 people were injured in another shelling by Ukraine's armed forces in Belgorod. 49 apartments in 22 apartment buildings and 4 commercial properties were damaged, whereas 4 roofs of apartment buildings had received a direct hit. And now we have with us Dasha Chernishova from Moscow. A very good evening to you from India, Dasha. When we talk about the situation in Ukraine, which is getting worse every day, and there's a statement that says that without Western support, Ukraine is doomed to fall into deep coma. This is the latest statement from Russia's spokesperson. What makes them say so, Dasha?
Well, the understanding in Moscow is that the conflict in Ukraine could be over very, very soon. Soon after the Western countries stopped the supplies of the military aid to Kiev regime, as Moscow calls the authorities in Ukraine. And that is making the Russian authorities insist that without that support, the conflict would be over. In the meantime, however, we are seeing the escalation of the situation, including the situation in Belgorod, where at least 18 people have been taken to the medical facilities after sustaining injuries in the collapse of the 10-story building, which is the result of the Ukrainian shelling. Now, the understanding is that it is another act of terrorism, as the Russian authorities describe it. The Russian Investigative Committee has started the criminal case, and we are yet to hear for the final numbers in terms of those dead and those injured. But Moscow is saying that this is the latest in the chain of the attacks of the Ukrainian armed forces against the civilian targets in Russia, and that's why we understand that Moscow is saying that it will push forward until the goals of its operation in Ukraine are achieved, because this means that the territories in Belgorod, Kursk, Bryansk and elsewhere in Russia would be safe.
And also there are recent claims that say Pyongyang shipped good number of containers to Moscow, which is somewhere around 60,000. Seoul also says it is looking into the matter. What is the latest on this, Dasha?
Well, certainly if you look at the Russian angle of this story, Moscow has always been dismissing the possibility of receiving weapons from anybody else. Moscow is saying that it is self-sufficient in terms of its weapon production for the needs of the operation in Ukraine. On top of that, the Russian officials insist that they do know the obligations they have taken as part of the international sanctions against the North Korea. And with regard to that, Moscow insists says it is not violating any of those. So the understanding in Moscow is very, very abrupt. Moscow insists that it has ramped up the production of its own weaponry to meet the needs of the operation in Ukraine.
All right, thank you so much, Shiv, for joining us and bringing us the latest from Moscow. Now, destinations worldwide are courting Indian travelers, including countries in Africa. Authorities in several African nations are ramping up their efforts to attract visitors from the rapidly growing market. Tanzanian officials in particular view Indian travelers as an important segment in their efforts to boost country's growing tourism industry. TD India's Isaac Lucando has more.
Last year, Tanzania saw 1.8 million tourists land on its soil, compared to a high of 1.5 million visitors recorded before the COVID-19 pandemic. The government is now looking to India to boost that number.
In our research, we have seen the need to improve tourism advertisement and expand the use of technology in that regard. You will see that there are emerging tourism markets such as Latin America and India, where we have exhausted just 1.7% of their tourism potential.
Tour operators in Tanzania are looking forward to this new development as they feel the Indian diaspora could play a part in attracting tourists from the subcontinent.
So we see a huge number of families who want to come and visit Tanzania. They travel in groups of 7 people, 6 people, sometimes more, 20 to 30 people, and they come visit their family members. We've seen an increase in travel, in ticketing, in hotel bookings, in activities and excursions that they want to do together as a family.
The number of Indian tourists visiting Tanzania has been growing, with available statistics showing that in 2017 alone, about 39,000 tourists from India were granted pre-departure visas to Tanzania. In the same vein, Air Tanzania resumed its operations in India 4 years ago after a sabbatical of 20 years.
Most of Tanzania's tourists come from the US and Europe. But after the COVID-19 pandemic, the government is shifting its focus to Asia. It's hoping that the large populations in countries like India will help fuel the growth ambitions of its tourism sector.
In anticipation of increased tourists, the government is dealing with potential pitfalls.
There exists a challenge of increasing the number of accommodations and improving their quality. So I call on the private sector to work on this to ensure our guests have a positive experience, considering that 40% of the tourists coming here do so after being informed of our hospitality.
Tanzania's earnings from tourism in 2023 saw a growth of over 33%, reaching $3.3 billion from $2.5 billion the previous year. The government is hoping that success in tapping into the Indian tourism market will keep this number soaring. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Dubai witnessed a unique exhibition titled Swadesh, showcasing the diverse, vibrant folk and tribal art traditions of India. Organized under the banner of Vidisha Creations, the Swadesh exhibition gave special focus to lesser-known art forms such as Manjulas art and Gond art, which are often overshadowed by the more famous Mithila paintings. The exhibits featured a diverse array of folk and tribal artworks, allowing the visitors to learn traditional techniques directly from master artisans and sales of the art.
This exhibition is related to Indian tribal and folk art. So different types of folk arts are in exhibition, the mandala being one of them. We also have the Lipan art, the Madhubani painting, Gola art, and acrylic as well as oil paintings, among many others.
Now, legendary Nepali Sherpa climber Kamirita has created a new record by scaling Mount Everest for the 29th time. Known as Everest Man, Kamirita surpassed his own record of 28 ascents. He now holds the record for the most ascents of the world's tallest peak in its 71-year climbing history. Bangladesh Finance Minister Abul Hassan Mahmood Ali on Saturday said that reforms are needed in Bangladesh's accounting system to meet international standards. Comptroller and Auditor General of Bangladesh celebrated 51st anniversary in Dhaka. On this occasion, Finance Minister said there is a need to conduct performance audit, IT audit, environment and climate change related audit reports. Finance Minister also assured that Finance Ministry will cooperate to enhance capacity of the CAG office in conducting audits. India's Border Security Force hoisted country's largest BSF flag at the Shahi Killa complex in Atari near the India-Pakistan border. The 350-foot tall flag stands tall alongside the highest tricolour in the Indian subcontinent. The flag will be visible from kilometres away as well. According to Taliban ministry, the death toll from flooding in northern Afghanistan has now risen to 315, with more than 1,600 people being injured. Thousands of homes have been damaged and livestock wiped out. Humanitarian organizations have said healthcare facilities and vital infrastructure like water have been damaged by the floods. Afghanistan is prone to natural disasters and is considered by the United Nations to be one of the countries most vulnerable to climate change. It's now time to take a short break here on DD India News Hour, but still to come on the other side. Solar storm puts on brilliant light show across the globe. Northern lights illuminate sky in Spain.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Now, Switzerland emerges as the winner of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024 on Saturday in the Swedish city of Malmö. Swiss rapper and singer Nemo won the contest with the code Ayona, blending song about their journey of self-discovery. Croatia came as runner-up.
To be a part of it was special, and to know that a song that has changed my life and a song where I just speak about my story has touched so many people and maybe inspired other people to stay true to
The official poster of the 77th Festival Dukhan was raised above the Palais du Festivals on Sunday. And this year's image is taken from Japanese filmmaker Akira Kurosawa's 1991 film called Rhapsody in August. Festival organizers said the poster serves as a testament to the power of cinema that gives voice to all. This year's festival will begin on the 14th of May. So Cannes Film Festival begins on the 14th of May. So where does India figure in the festival this year? Munmun Bhattacharya reports.
The azure blue waters of the French Riviera and the iconic 24 steps on the red carpet are beckoning again. The curtain will lift on the Cannes Film Festival on 14th May. And for 12 days, it will be a celebration of an eclectic mix of world cinema and fashion.
The Cannes Film Festival is nothing short of an annual pilgrimage for celebrities, actors, filmmakers, fashionistas and film and fashion aficionados, besides tourists who flock up to this French city to see it unleash its magic year after year. The visibility and popularity of this film festival is such that it is seen as a template for international film festivals around the world. Celebrities walk up the stairway to glory, surrounded by shutterbugs as the world watches in awe. And guess what? Amid the big names such as Meryl Streep, who will be the guest of honor at the opening ceremony, and Greta Gerwig, who's chairing the jury at the festival, India is all set to make a big splash at Cannes this year.
Do you know that India is back in the reckoning in the main competition of the festival after a hiatus of 30 years? Payal Kapadia's debut feature film, All We Imagine as Light, is the first Indian film to compete for the prestigious Palme d'Or Award in 3 decades. Her documentary, A Night of Knowing Nothing, was the winner of the Golden Eye for Best Documentary during the 2021 edition of the festival. British Indian filmmaker Sandhya Suri's debut feature film Santosh will be screened under the Uncertain Regard section. Sister Midnight by Indian director Karan Kandhari will be shown in Director's Fortnight. Indian director Mesam Ali's In Retreat will have its world premiere in Association for the Diffusion of Independent Cinema. That's a parallel independent sidebar in Cannes. Sunflowers Were First Ones to Know by Chidanand Nayak, a student of Film and Television Institute of India, has been chosen for the La Cinef competitive section. The short film, made in Kannada, was shortlisted among entries from across the globe and will now compete against 17 other international short films in the final stage. Shyam Benegal's Manthan, a film focusing on the Amul Dairy cooperative movement, will be presented in the classic section, adding a touch of historical significance to the festival's Indian lineup. The film reels were preserved for several decades in film walls and later restored. National Award-winning cinematographer Santosh Sivan will be the recipient of the prestigious Peer and Genu tribute at the festival. He will also deliver a masterclass for Cannes delegates, becoming the first Indian to be honoured with this distinction. The Bharat Pavilion at the festival will be inaugurated on 15th May in the presence of eminent film personalities. Designed by the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad, the pavilion depicts this year's theme of Create in India.
In the Indian camp, the spotlight is going to be on 2 things. One is a session that is titled Abundant Incentives, Seamless Facilitations, Come Create in India. Here the focus is going to be on how India is offering so many incentives for film production, on co-production opportunities, as well as on post-production facilities in India. Besides that, the focus is also going to be on Bharat Parv. It is for the first time that India is organizing such a festival at the Cannes Film Festival, and the focus there is going to be on networking with film personalities and stakeholders from around the world, besides promoting the 2 marquee international film festivals hosted by India, MIF and IFFI, and of course showcasing Indian talent and opportunities. So come to Cannes, and if you can't, do watch our coverage of the Cannes Film Festival on DD News and DD India, and get ready for India to unleash its magic at the Cannes Film Festival in 2024. With cameraman YK Loknath, this is Mundan Bhattacharya for DD India.
Moving on to sports now, Arsenal will try to continue their bid to wrest the league title away from 3-time champions Manchester City when they take on Manchester United on Sunday. If Arsenal don't win, Man City could wrap up the Premier League title. The Gunners make the trip north with doubts over Bukayo Saka's fitness. They have struggled at Old Trafford, winning just one of their past 16 games there with 10 defeats. But 8th place United have been hit by injuries and were clobbered by 4-0 at Crystal Palace on Monday. In cricket, Rishabh Pant's absence will loom large when Delhi Capitals and Royal Challengers Bengaluru spar in a must-win clash at M. Chinnaswamy Stadium of Bengaluru tonight. The DC skipper has been suspended for 1 match after his team maintained a slow over rate against Rajasthan Royals on the 7th of May. It was Pant's 3rd such penalty, triggering the ban. RCB, having won 5 out of 12 matches, now must win the next 2 games to have an outside chance of qualifying for the playoffs. Faf du Plessis-led RCB have won 4 back-to-back games out of their last 5. Delhi Capitals have won 6 of their 12 matches and are enjoying the 5th position at the points table. Delhi have won 3 out of their last 5 games. This is a must-win game for Rishabh Pant's men as well. England's pacer James Anderson is set to retire from Test cricket after the first test against West Indies that will take place from the 10th till the 14th of July. Anderson is the most successful pace bowler in Test history with 700 wickets, and in his distinguished career, the pacer has picked up 987 wickets across formats. Northern Light illuminates the night sky of Valencia in Spain. The Northern Lights, also called the Aurora Borealis, were seen around the world from the UK to Russia and the United States as the Earth experiences the biggest geomagnetic storm due to solar activity in 2 decades. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from DD India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehto, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.